All right, this is Unit 4, Lesson 5, Solving Rational Equations. So our lesson essential question is, how can you solve rational equations and identify extraneous solutions? So at the end of this lesson, we'll be able to solve these rational equations and identify the extraneous solutions. Okay, example 1, solve a rational equation. What is the solution to the rational equation 1 over x plus 4 equals 2? Okay, so a rational equation is an equation that contains a rational expression. So in this case, 1 over x plus 4 equals 2. 1 over x plus 4 equals 2. I multiply both sides by the LCD, or the least common denominator. In this case, it's x plus 4. And I get 1 equals 2 times x plus 4. I distribute the 2, so I get 2x plus 8, and then I solve for x. So the solution is x equals -7/2. What is the solution to the rational equation 1 over x minus 3 equals 5? Okay. So I multiply both sides by x minus 3. I get 1 equals 5x minus 16. Should be minus 15. Should be minus 15. Then I move everything around and I get 16 over 5 as my solution. All right, let's go ahead and try out the rational expressions. I want to solve them. So for A, I have 2 over x plus 5 equals 4. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x plus 5. When I do that, I get 2 equals 4x plus 20. I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So I get -18 equals 4x. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So that gives me -9/2 equals x. For letter B, I have 1 over x minus 7 equals 2. So again, I'm going to multiply both sides by x minus 7. I get, so when I multiply both sides by x equals 7, I get 1 equals 2x minus 14. So 1 plus 14 equals 2x. So I get 15 equals 2x. I divide both sides by 2. That gives me 15/2 equals x. All right, example number 2, solve a work rate problem. So Arthur and Cheyenne can paint a wall in 6 hours when working together. Cheyenne works twice as fast as Arthur. How long would it take Cheyenne to paint the wall if she were working by herself? So Cheyenne and Arthur, they work together. Arthur. Determine the work rates of Arthur and Cheyenne. Let x represent the number of hours Arthur needs to paint the wall himself. The fraction of a job completed per hour is the work rate. So Arthur can paint one wall in x hours, or 1 over x of a wall in 1 hour. Cheyenne is twice as fast, so Cheyenne paints 2 over x of a wall in 1 hour. Together they paint one wall in 6 hours, or 1/6 of a wall in 1 hour. So I write the equation for their rates working together. 1 over x plus 2 over x, so this is Arthur, plus Cheyenne, equals 1/6, which is the wall that they painted in 6 hours. So I multiply both sides by 6x, since that's the LCD. So I get 6 plus 12, 6 times 2 is 12, equals 6x over 1 over x, or x. Should be 6. Okay. So I get 6 plus 12 equals x, and 18 equals x. So it takes Arthur 18 hours to paint the wall alone, since Cheyenne works twice as fast as Arthur. It would take her 9 hours to paint the wall by herself. So it takes 12 hours to fill a pool with 2 pipes, where the water in one pipe flows 3 times as fast as the other pipe. How long will it take the shower pipe, the slower pipe, to fill the pool by itself? So we know that pipe is working at 1 over x speed plus 3 over x, because the second pipe takes 3 times as fast, and they fill the pool in 12 hours, or 1 over 12. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by my LCD, which is 12x times 1 over x plus 12x times 3 over x equals 12x times 1 over 12. So when this simplifies, I get 12 plus 36 equals x. So 12 plus 36 is 48. That equals x. Okay. So in this step up here, I can notice that I can just simplify this side. So I have 4 over x, and you'll still get the same answer of 48. All right, example 3, identify an extraneous solution. So what is the solution of the equation 1 over x minus 5 plus x over x minus 3 equals 2 over x squared minus 8x plus 15? So I multiply each side of the equation by the common denominator, which is x minus 5 times x minus 3. Okay, because actually when this gets factored out, it actually, or when you factor this out, you get x minus 5 and x minus 3. Okay. I continue to simplify through. Okay. I divide out the common factors in the numerator and the denominator. You can divide out common factors under the assumption that x minus 1 over x minus 1 equals 1, and x minus 3 over x minus 3 equals 1. This is only true if x does not equal 5 or 3, because if I had 5, that would make this 0, and you can't divide by 0. If it were 3, I'd have this be 0, and you can't divide by 0. I solve the equation. So the possible solutions, so I get x minus 3 plus x times x minus 5 equals 2. I multiply everything out. I get x minus 3 plus x squared minus 5x equals 2. When I solve for 0, I get x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0, which factors to x minus 5 and x plus 5. Well, x equals 5 and x equals negative 1. Okay? But remember up here, we said it can't work if x equals 5. So I consider both solutions. If either solution makes the value of the denominator 0, it's not a valid solution, okay, or an extraneous solution. The solution x equals 5 is an extraneous solution because it makes the value of a denominator in the original equation equal to 0. So the solution of the equation is negative 1. I can always confirm with a graph. I can consider the graphs of 1 over x minus 5 plus x over x minus 3 and 2 over x squared minus 8x plus 15. So the red, the blue, so that gives me that. Note that each graph has a vertical asymptote at x equals 3 and x equals 5. Therefore, neither graph has a value of x equals 5. The graphs only intersect in one point, which is right here at x equals negative 1. All right, so I want to know what the solution of the equation 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x minus 2 equals 4 over x plus 2 x minus 2. Okay, so I'm going to multiply through by my denominator, my common denominator of x plus 2 and x minus 2. So when I do this, I get x plus 2, x minus 2, plus x plus, I'm going to go ahead and factor out everything. So for this one, the first one, x plus 2 times x minus 2 times 1 over x plus 2, the x plus 2's cancel. So I'm left with x minus 2. For here, I have x minus 2 and x minus 2 cancel. So x plus 2 times 1 is x plus 2 equals the x plus 2 and the x minus 2 both cancel. So I'm left with 4. Okay, so now I have x minus 2 plus x plus 2 equals 4. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. So x equals 4. Get 2x equals 4. I divide both sides by 2, so x equals 2. But I can't do that since if I put 2 in here, the 2 minus 2, that gives me 0. So this means I have no solution. All right, example 4, solve problems with extraneous solutions. So what are the solutions to the following equation? 5x over x minus 2 equals 7 plus 10 over x minus 2. All right, so I multiply through by my common denominator. I go ahead and simplify. So this x minus 2 cancels, so I'm left with 5x equals 7 times x minus 2 plus 10. So I have 5x equals 7x minus 14 plus 10. Combine all my like terms. I have negative 2x equals negative 4. Divide both sides by negative 2, so I get x equals 2. I check that in my original solution. The value 2 is an extraneous solution because it would cause the denominator in the original equation to be equal to 0. So this equation has no solution. All right. So what are the solutions to the following equation? 3 over x minus 3 equals x over x minus 3 minus x over 4. Looking at this, I know right away that 3 cannot be a solution. It'll be an extraneous solution if I end up with that when I solve, because that would make the denominator 0. So again, I multiply by 4 times x minus 3 because that's my LCD. Okay, when I do that, I get 4 times 3 equals 4x minus x times x minus 3. So I get 12 equals 4x minus x squared plus 3x. So x squared minus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So when I factor that out, I get x minus 3 times x minus 4 equals 0. When I solve for each of these, I get x equals 3 and x equals 4. Well, we already know 3 won't work because that would make this 0. Okay, we can double check for 4. So 3 we know won't work because it'll make it 0, but 4 would work and it will give us a solution. So the only solution to the equation is x equals 4. All right, so let's go ahead and try these problems out. First one I have is x plus 6 over x minus 3 equals 2x over x minus 3. So I need to multiply everything times x minus 3. When I do that, and when I do that, I get x squared minus 3x plus 6 equals 2x. Okay, so the x minus 3 and the x minus 3 cancel. Same here. So now I'm going to go ahead and solve this equation for 0. So I need to bring the 2x to the other side. Okay, so this gives me x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. I factor it, so x minus 3, x minus 2. And so x equals 3 and x equals 2. We know, though, that 3 cannot be, so 3 is, x equals 3 is an extraneous solution because it would make the denominator 0. So x equals 2 is our solution. Next, I have x squared over x plus 5 equals 25 over x plus 5. So I multiply both times x plus 5. When I squared equals 25. I'm going to go ahead and solve for 0. So I get x plus 5, x minus 5 equals 0. So x equals 5 or negative 5. Negative is not a solution because that would make the denominator 0. So negative 5 is an extraneous solution. So the only solution is x equals 5. All right, example 5, solve a rate problem. So paddling with the current in a river, Jake traveled 16 miles, even though he paddled upstream for an hour longer than the amount of time he paddled downstream. Jake could only travel 6 miles against the current. In still water, Jake paddles at a rate of 5 miles per hour. What is the speed of the current in the river? So we've gone 16 miles downstream and 6 miles upstream. Okay. So let C be the rate of the river's current. Recall that distance equals rate times time, so time equals distance over rate. Okay, so again, we were looking for the speed. Okay, so Jake's paddle rate in still water plus the rate of the current, so 16. Remember, that's what they told us. 16 miles was what he traveled. His rate with the current was 5 plus the current rate. So that was the amount of time, that was the amount he traveled downstream, because he can paddle 5 miles per hour in still water plus whatever the current took him, plus 1, because he paddled this downstream plus this upstream, equals 6 over 5 minus C, which is his paddle rate in still water minus the rate of the current, and 6 was the distance he traveled upstream. I solved the equation for C, so 16 over 5 plus C plus 1 equals 6 over 5 minus C. So I'm multiplying both sides by 5 plus C times 5 minus C, which gives me 16 plus 5 plus C times 5 minus C equals 6 times 5 plus C. So when I multiply all that out, I get 80 minus 16C plus 25 minus C squared equals 30 plus 6C. I combine all my like terms, so I get C squared plus 22C minus 75. I factor, I get C plus 25 times C minus 3. I solve for both, so I get C plus 25 and C minus 3, so I get C equals negative 25 and C equals 3. The solution C equals negative 25 is extraneous because the speed of the current cannot be negative. The speed of the current has to be 3 miles per hour. A lot of times in these situations, you'll actually get a negative and a positive solution. 99.9% of the time, the negative is going to be an extraneous solution. All right, so let's go ahead and try it out. So 3 people are planting tomatoes in a community garden. Marta takes 50 minutes to plant the garden alone. Benito takes X minutes, and Tyler takes X plus 15 minutes. If the 3 of them take 20 minutes to finish the garden together, how long would it have taken Tyler to do it alone? So this is very similar to the problem we did in example 2. So I have Marta, who is 1 over 50. It took her 50 minutes to do it by herself. Tyler, who's 1 over X, because it took him X minutes to do it by himself. And Benito was 1 over X. Tyler was 1 over X plus 15, because it took him Benito's time plus 15 more minutes. And all of them together, it took 1 over 20, or 20 minutes to finish the whole garden. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 50 times 20 times X times X plus 5. That's what I'm multiplying everything through by. Okay? When I do this, the first one, 1, becomes 20 times X plus 15. Plus 1 over X becomes 50 times 20 times X plus 15. Plus 1 over X plus 15 becomes 50 times 20 times X equals 1 over 20 becomes 50 times X plus 15. And now I need to go ahead and multiply all this through. So 20 times X is 20X. So 20X times X is 20X squared. Plus 15 times 20 is 300x plus 50 times 20 is 1,000. So 1,000x plus 1,000 times 15 is 15,000 plus 1,000x. 50 times 20 is 1,000. Okay. This equals 50x times x, which is 50x squared, plus 50x times 15 is 750x. Now I get to start simplifying. So I'm just going to start with the left side. 20x squared is by itself. Okay. And I have 300x plus 1,000x plus 1,000x. So that's 2,300. 2,300x plus 15,000 equals 50x squared plus 750x. I'm going to go ahead and move everything to the other side. So I've solved for 0. So I get 20x squared minus 50x squared plus 2,300x minus 750x plus 15,000 equals 0. I simplify, so I get negative 30x squared plus 1,550x plus 15,000 equals 0. I'm going to go ahead and divide all of these by 10. You don't have to, but I'm just trying to make the numbers a little bit smaller, and they all end in 0. So I might as well just go ahead and divide by 10. So I get negative 3x squared plus 155x plus 1,500 equals 0. So that gives me negative 3x squared plus 155x plus 1,500. I'm going to go ahead and factor, so I get negative 3x minus 25 times x minus 60. Okay, I solve both of these. So x equals negative 25 thirds and x equals 60. Well, again, x equals negative 25 thirds. That's an extraneous solution, so x equals 60. Okay, so Benito, remember Benito worked 10 x minutes, so Benito was 60 minutes. I need to add 15 to that because I'm looking for Tyler. It asked for Tyler, so that's 75. So Tyler would have taken Tyler 75 minutes to finish the garden if he worked alone. Great, concept summary. Solving rational equations. In words, a rational equation is an equation that contains a rational expression. To solve, identify the domain for the variable. Then multiply both sides of the equation by a common denominator and solve. An extraneous solution is a solution that is not valid because the value is excluded from the domain of the original equation. Remember, it makes that domain 0. So if it makes the denominator 0, it's an extraneous solution. No dividing by 0, bad things happen. Okay? So in algebra, 1 over x plus 2 over x equals 1/6. My domain is x can't be 0. So 6, I multiply both sides by 6x, and I get x equals 18. So the domain includes x equals 18, so the solution to the equation is 18. For x squared plus 4 over x minus 1 equals 5 over x minus 1, the domain can't be 1 because that would be not a solution. So I multiply both sides by x minus 1 since that's my common denominator. I get x squared plus 4 equals 5 because the x minus 1's cancel. So I have x squared equals 1, so x is plus or minus 1. The domain does not include x equals 1, so 1 is an extraneous solution. It does include x equals negative 1, so the solution to the equation is negative 1. And that is the end of lesson 5.